Get ready to have some fun making this really cool printmaking project. I totally loved this. Take a Sharpie, write your name on the back side of your styrofoam. Okay, once I've got my name in Sharpie, I'm gonna then take out a pencil and start drawing out a sketch. Like I did this in advance, but I just kind of wanted to figure out what I wanted to do on my small piece of paper. So once you've got your idea figured out on paper, you'll place your paper on top of your styrofoam. You'll notice that I'm going over a few times with my pencil to make sure that the designs that I have on paper are transferring into that softer styrofoam. Okay, so I'm just going to go over it with a thick pencil. Now I sped this up quite a bit, so you're going to be seeing this a lot faster than what I was actually doing. I just rubbed my finger over top of the paper because I wanted to feel if it's transferring into my styrofoam. If it's transferring in, I'm good to go. I'll take my pencil and I'm going to finish off the rest of my project. Now your design might be just simple shapes and lines, but it might be something that you recognize like I did. Okay, cool. I can see my design, but this design is not thick enough yet. It's not going to ensure a very good print yet. So I'm going to take my pencil, and now that I've got my drawing into my styrofoam lightly, I'm going to go over it a second time to make sure that my designs are placed on really thick, so that when I do my print, it won't just be solid blocks of color, but the image that I'm pressing down on right now will be the areas that will be white. All the areas that are not pressed down with pencil will have a color on it. Okay, so having that said, I want to tell you one other thing about printmaking. Whatever it is that you're drawing in printmaking will be reversed onto the paper. Okay, you're going to see that in this example, but I tried to come up with a design or an image that it wouldn't really matter if it's frontwards or backwards. But with printmaking, I just try to stay away from letters and words and English kinds of projects. I'm just going to do images, okay? So it's not going to be really a big deal. Let's go on to color now. Once I've got my design placed into my styrofoam, I'm going to take some washable Crayola markers and start to apply color. You'll notice I started with yellow. Yellow being one of the lightest colors that I have that you can put into your styrofoam. And then I'm getting it to be darker colors beyond that. So I just went ahead and put on some pink. Now I'm adding in some red, and I'm just going to start applying colors into the project. In my head, I was thinking I want my flowers to stand out against my background. So I tried using some oranges and reds and yellows onto my flower. And then in my background, I'll try using some purples, blues, and greens so that as I'm putting my colors on, you'll see some variety and it's not all the same. So enjoy. Now that I'm getting my white piece of paper, I'm going to take a moment and start sponging and adding some water onto my paper. So I've gotten my sponge, put some water on it, wrung it out, and now I'm going to place that onto the back side of my paper. I like to take a towel to ensure a good print. I like to make sure that it's okay. That turned out all right. I've got some color on there. I wonder if I would have made my sponge a little bit wetter if my image would be brighter. I'm going to wipe it off with a towel and try again. I like to try out this a couple of times. So that first one was just a practice. I want to try it again. This time I'm going to switch it around and have some cool colored flowers with a warm colored background. Okay, so I'm just using that same towel multiple times. I don't have to get new towels every single time. But again, I start out with a light color like orange, and I'm building up to my next analogous color, my reds and my pinks. For the flower this time, remember I'm going to be moving into some cool colors. I just started with gray for the interior or the center part with a little bit of brown for my flower. And then for my petals, I'm going to be switching and using some cool colors. Again, showing contrast between my object compared to my background. I want them to stand out. I want them to be as different as possible. The other thing you might notice is my fingers that are holding the styrofoam down as I'm trying to be very careful so that, one, it doesn't move, but two, that I'm not wiping off all of the marker. So one hand's doing the coloring, and I'm trying to be very careful not to touch the styrofoam the very best that I can. So I'm just going to go ahead and take some more of that color because I'm like, my finger wiped it all off. Okay, let's try it again. I'm going to add a little bit more water to my sponge now. And see how it's glossier? My water is glossy on the paper. That's good compared to below. You can see the difference. Okay, I'm going to use my towel one more time. Ensuring a good print, I'm going to rub all the way to the corners. Okay, everybody seems to get a good print in the center. Make sure that you rub the corners. Oh, that one turned out so much better. I think a little bit more water in my sponge was better. It doesn't need to be soaking wet, but you want to be able to see water on your paper, and I think you'll like that better. Okay, so I have this idea that I want to try now, and so I sped it up quite a bit. You're seeing me go a lot faster because I didn't want this video to take forever in a day. But you're seeing the same things. Apply your color, and this time what I thought I would do is using warm colors on my flowers, cool colors in my background, getting my paper wet, I'm going to make a print where I have the corner of my flower repeated. Okay, the one flower has a lot of pictures showing, the other flower has only a quarter of it showing. So in my head I was thinking, why don't I use the quarter flower, the image that you only see 1/4 of, adding water every time, and then I'm thinking to myself, I want to have one big flower in the center. And then I'm going to take my colors. I don't have to wipe it off. I'm using the same colors, but I just want to have more ink onto my flowers, adding a little bit more color into my flowers in my background. Same color, so I'm just reapplying more ink, adding my water onto the paper once again, turning it around so that I've got my quarter flower in the center. And then for my last one, I'm going to do the same thing. Placing again my light colors first, and then eventually moving into darker colors. Always starting with yellow, building up to darker colors, adding water onto the paper, and turning it so that now my quarter flower becomes a full flower. I cut off the leftover, the practice ones that I've done, and I'm going to staple this onto black paper for my finished project. I love the way this turned out. I hope you have fun making your own printmaking project.